Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're going on a really hyper-focused analytical journey. So if you absolutely love drilling down into the literal core of how information is structured, well, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to look at the duality of woodworking and explore this profound shift from the universal to the specific, all based on just two highly minimal data points. Just look at the sheer weight of this single, standalone word from our very first source, woodworking. Seriously, just sit with that for a second. It's an absolute, unmodified, universal baseline. You know, in the realm of data and information, a single word like this functions kind of like a massive open container. It doesn't tell us who's doing it, where it's happening, or even when. It just is. It's the pure, raw essence of the subject matter, totally untouched by any qualifiers whatsoever. And this really brilliantly illustrates how our first piece of text doesn't present an action or a specific place, but rather an infinite, boundless category, an unmodified noun. When we encounter an unmodified noun like this in our source data, it's theoretically limitless. Think about what that actually means for how we categorize knowledge. Without boundaries, the concept of woodworking includes everything from, say, ancient Egyptian furniture crafting to modern CNC routing in a high-tech factory. It's this giant umbrella so wide it covers the entire history and future of the craft.
Now, you might be wondering, why is this kind of hyper-analysis so vital? Well, it's because we're building this entire conceptual framework from exactly two distinct data points. That's right, just two. Two tiny text fragments. It's actually a pretty fun reminder that you don't always need massive, complex data sets to find fascinating insights. Sometimes, honestly, you just need a magnifying glass and a willingness to ask how the absolute smallest building blocks relate to one another.
Section 2, this shift, introducing the modifier. Let's see how this builds as we transition from a universal absolute to a specific, bounded concept in our second text. This is where the plot of our minimalist data really thickens. Notice the immediate conceptual tension when the modifier s is placed directly next to the original term. On the left, we've got the boundless universe of the craft, but on the right, the sudden imposition of a limit. By literally just dropping those two letters in front of our universal baseline, the entire paradigm of the data shifts. We've gone straight from the infinite to the localized. So the absolutely crucial point here is this exact phrasing from our second source, U.S. woodworking. This specific string of characters forces us into a pretty fascinating analytical corner. It makes us ask a critical question about the data's intent. Does U.S. signify a collective pronoun, like a community of people, you and me, engaging in woodworking? Or does it act as an abbreviation for a geographical region, meaning the United States? The source material leaves this completely open to interpretation, giving the text a really cool dual layer of meaning. Based strictly on the super sparse text we're provided, this modification creates a distinct new category, one that narrows the infinite scope of our first source down into something localized or possessed. It acts as a geographic boundary if we read it as U.S. woodworking, or a collective identity if we read it as us, the community. But honestly, regardless of which interpretation you lean toward, the result is exactly the same, a definitive narrowing of the universal concept. That limitless umbrella we talked about, it's just been folded right down. This step-by-step progression shows exactly how our data moves from a broad, completely untouched category to a confined one. And it does it through the addition of just two letters. Step 1 sets the stage with the universal concept. Step 2 instantly builds walls around it with the imposed boundary. It highlights just how fragile universality really is in information systems, doesn't it? The very second you introduce a modifier, you inherently exclude things. If it's us woodworking, well, it inherently excludes them or their. Which brings us to the final takeaway, the unanswered question. We've watched a concept go from infinite to finite, but the true nature of that finite boundary remains wonderfully ambiguous in the sparse text. So I'll leave you with this provocative thought to ponder. Think about the mysterious, open-ended nature of how a single, tiny modifier completely redefines an entire concept. When you look at the data around you in your own life, ask yourself, what truly separates us from the universal? How often do we unconsciously apply modifiers that shrink our understanding of a massive, boundless subject? It's an incredible reminder to always question the boundaries placed on the information we consume. Thanks for exploring this deeply focused data explainer with me. Keep analyzing and for sure, keep questioning those modifiers.